There is a huge demand for growing infrastructure, developing industry.
My country is changing, my country is developing, I'm also part of it.
And those who come in now and get involved in the Sri Lankan story would reap more benefits than those who come later.
Of Sri Lanka is making a fresh appearance on the global stage. This nation is shedding a tempestuous past and moving forward into an auspicious future. Before 2009, the country was marred by a quarter-century-long civil war that divided the nation and displaced its people. Sri Lanka has since been rising from the ashes of its conflict, striving to reconstruct the economy and beginning an ambitious program of economic development.
We think we have built a resilient economy, a sustainable economy. The platforms that we have are today strong. We have been able to have better reserves, low inflation, high growth, which means that in every part of our overall macro fundamentals, we have sufficient spaces built. At the same time, you can see that our doing business indicators are improving, the infrastructure is improving, and we have also diversified our economy into 5 new hubs: maritime, aviation, knowledge, energy and commercial. And to that we must add the current existing areas of development like the apparel sector, the gems and jewelry sector and tourism sector. All those gives sufficient space for investment to take place on a consistent basis in our economy.
Formerly known as Ceylon, this island nation is strategically positioned in the northern Indian Ocean at the gateway between east and west, and home to almost 23 million people. The largest city and commercial capital is Colombo, and the administrative capital is Sri Jayawardenepura. The previously tumultuous area of Jaffna is already recovering from its reputation as the center of the former conflict. This region was once the fighting ground for the rebel Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam and government forces, spiraling the city into destruction and disarray. Today, much like the rest of Sri Lanka, this city is becoming a beacon for the future, attracting commercial consideration from Colombo as well as international investors.
In order for people to come in and do business, they need to have good systems, particularly the banking system, the law and order system. Then of course the infrastructure, like the roads, like the telephones, like the cleanliness in the city, like good office buildings, then health services, education services, entertainment. So all these are important ingredients in a country for it to be attractive to the outside people to do business. And I would think that if you compare Sri Lanka of 5 years ago and now, we have come a long way. And today many people look at Sri Lanka, not only the locals but also people from outside. They see new developments in Sri Lanka as being the basis for doing business in Sri Lanka. And I think in time to come that can only improve.
For Sri Lanka, 2015 marks the beginning of a new presidency. With this comes a solemn vow to bring constitutional reforms to the nation and weaken the former hold of the presidency. Sri Lanka's new leader, President Maithripala Sirisena, succeeded the former long-serving presidency of Mahinda Rajapaksa in 2015, after winning the majority vote with 51.2%. A subsequent White House statement dubbed this victory a significant symbol of hope for those supporting democracy around the world. President Sirisena's opening ambitions are to root out corruption, rebalance the country's foreign policy, and maintain its important relationships. Through collaborations like Mother Sri Lanka, the nation wants to demystify ideas of its past and enter discussions for the future, encouraging collaboration from the public and private sector and leveraging the strengths of each economic sector.
We have peace in the country and we need to now sustain this. I mean, we cannot afford to lose what we have, what we obtained through so much of hardship, sacrifices so much of lives and property and heartache and blood and tears. We have to do everything now to protect this. development is a key focus now. Our poverty levels we have reduced up to around 12%, which was over the 20s in to the end of the war. In 2005 it was in the 20s, and we have reduced it so much now. Our per capita income, we had a target of doubling it by 2016, but we have already reached that target by 2015. Those are results of the development that's going on. So if you look at any indicator, our inflation is less than 10%. So interest rates have come down. So there's a conducive environment for entrepreneurs to do more business, to new people to get into business. And so in every aspect, if you look at an economic report card on it, we have A pluses in all of them.
Sri Lanka is maintaining a strong economic growth following the end of a 26-year conflict with the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam. From 2003 to 2012, the country saw a robust growth of 6.4%, and at an estimated $7,046, the GDP per capita is strong for Southeast Asia. The government's efforts in fiscal consolidation, along with a positive growth in GDP, have been instrumental in lowering the once high budget deficits. But this positive development is not without challenges.
Most of the challenges that we encounter today are from external sectors, because the world is now fully connected to Sri Lanka as well. So whenever there is any type of disturbance or turmoil outside, it can have an impact on the Sri Lankan economy as well. So we have tried to minimize those shocks by ensuring that we are stronger and that we have the necessary space to deal with any shock. Now we are, to a great extent, having that ability, and therefore it is much less of a concern for us than some time ago. Earlier we ourselves had many shocks as well as disturbances in our own economy. We had a conflict that was raging for a 30-year period. We had macro fundamentals which were not very strong. We had investment climate that didn't instill much confidence. But all those have now changed. And as a result, we can look forward to a much better environment, which we made use of to give ourselves high growth, low inflation, and good macro fundamentals.
The country's weaknesses were laid bare. During this time, agriculture production slowed, global demand for trade decreased, and the local rupee depreciated in value. Low tax revenues and a large trade deficit remain a concern, although significant remittances from Sri Lankan expatriates help offset the trade deficit. The finance sector and state currently influence the allocation of credit, and there are opportunities in the non-banking financial sector, which is presently said to be underdeveloped. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka is responsible for ensuring economic, price and financial system stability, as well as being the authority on economic affairs in the country. It's been in place since 1950 and today is committed to enhancing the quality of life for Sri Lankans and the prosperity of the nation.
Endlessly exotic and effortlessly charming, Sri Lanka offers a travel experience like no other. At Best Western Elian Colombo, retreat to an oasis of tranquility for business and leisure travelers and enjoy elegant accommodation with unparalleled hospitality. With modern spacious rooms, an international restaurant, gym, award-winning bar, and complimentary Wi-Fi. At Best Western Elian Colombo, you'll find all the comforts of home.
A provider of world-class engineering and construction services. China Harbor Engineering, a subsidiary of the Fortune 500 China Communications Construction Company, is helping Sri Lanka develop and grow. At China Harbor Engineering, we are committed to not only meeting, but exceeding international standards. Importantly, that includes the design, engineering, and construction of new airports, buildings, ports, and harbor facilities. With the Colombo Port City Land Reclamation Project, Sri Lanka is taking another big step forward in revitalizing this Indian Ocean island nation's economy and forging a pathway to sustainable development. As a project partner, China Harbor Engineering looks forward with great anticipation to the Colombo Port City Reclamation Project's completion. We believe it will bring greater prosperity to all Sri Lankans. D Villas, an idyllic boutique hotel in the picturesque village of Nawala, Sri Lanka, not far from the center of the capital of Colombo. We offer a choice of luxurious guest rooms and amenities in an ideal location within easy reach of fine restaurants, shopping malls, an exclusive golf course, and the beautiful beaches of Mount Lavinia on Sri Lanka's western coastline. Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, D Villas is the right choice for a luxurious stay in Sri Lanka. Serving you is our mission, and we will exceed your expectations.
Ozo Hotels, designed to deliver restful nights, energizing mornings, with tools to offer a quality experience in a smart, simple, and savvy way. Guests can count on quality sleep amenities, including extra comfy beds, along with a delicious breakfast boost. Ozo Colombo is now open. Ozo Colombo, sleep deeply, live brightly.
We have two main roles. One is to ensure price and economic stability, and the second is to ensure financial system stability. Now, what we mean by economic and price stability is to ensure that the country's price levels do not change materially from time to time. There can be a gentle increase or decrease, very often an increase, but it should be a manageable, gentle increase. At the same time, maintaining financial system stability means that all your payments and settlement systems, your banking sector, your non-banking financial sector, the insurance sector, the stock markets, all are stable, and that they are not in any turmoil, which makes it difficult for people to do business.
Sri Lanka's legal framework was fledged from English, Roman, Indian, Dutch and Old Ceylon origins as a result of the country's rich colonial history. The Supreme Court is the apex, followed by numerous others, including the High Court, Court of Appeal, and Magistrates' Court. In recent years, some observers have put the country's judicial rule under scrutiny, suggesting a relatively authoritarian ruling of the national budget by the former president, leading to a lack of transparency and legal independence.
Our legal system in commercial matters is mainly based on English law. There are few matters like property, personal matters are governed by the other systems, but largely even the decided case law and all the commercial statutes are based on the English system. And we are one of the countries which have a well-developed legal system to cater to the commercial world and the investors.
However, at the dawn of his new presidency, President Sirisena revealed a host of pledges to maintain the nation's notable GDP and tackle the aggregating fiscal debt. Importantly, the new president cited his 100-day program as the beginning of economic and political reform for Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is determinedly striding towards upper middle income status, concentrating on forming long-term strategic plans and overcoming structural development challenges. The nation is already outperforming the region in achieving its Millennium Development Goals, or MDGs. Sri Lanka has halved its extreme poverty figures and is an early achiever on 10 out of 21 indicators, including gender equality and widespread primary education.
This is a very unique country. They have very social services, health and education. Education covers from elementary school to university with no charge, and health is basically no charge, while there are some private hospitals. So at the end, the result is over 95% of literacy rate, and also average life expectancy is over 70 years. It's very, very unique country. And this country is growing very fast after the end of the internal conflict, enjoying 78% growth. Last year, this economy growth was 6.3%. This year's target is 7.8% growth. So it's very, very interesting country in terms of economic prosperity.
The key drivers of the economy are tourism and trade, including tea export, textiles, garments, rice and other agricultural goods, with the largest portion of FDI from the services sector. An IMF-supported standby agreement has restored investor confidence, paving the way for necessary reforms and donor support. For international investors casting their gaze to Sri Lanka, it takes less than a week to launch a new business. There's no minimum capital requirement, and the process involves a modest 9 procedures.
We have done some reforms in the part of improving the business indicators that are tracked by the World Bank, very in a focused manner. And that also has paid dividends, and we see people finding it easier to do business in Sri Lanka. And hopefully going forward, all these conditions put together would help us to take the profile of Sri Lanka higher, and that would mean that people would recognize it as a very good doing business destination.
Sri Lanka is an island of trade opportunities, and perhaps the most famous of all is tea. The nation's highlands' humidity and rainfall create a prime landscape for crops, permitting tea to become one of the country's main industries. In fact, Sri Lanka has a 23% share of global tea exports and became the world's leading tea exporter in 1995. The government is now focusing on reducing its high trade deficit, identifying key areas to address external imbalances of the economy. A 5-hub concept, the economic hub, has been introduced to develop the economy through important pillars, namely commercial, knowledge, energy, aviation and maritime. Sri Lanka is in a prime position for trade, located at the crossroads of major shipping routes linking South Asia, the Far East, the Pacific, Europe and the Americas. 50% of container traffic and 70% of the global energy supplies pass near the island's coast, and it's the only country in the world to have free trade agreements with both India and Pakistan. Sri Lanka is an integral part of the historic Silk Trade route, and development of ports under the former British rule helped mould the nation into a centre for commercial trade. Its export-skewed policies are starting to ebb away from a reliance on agricultural exports and into the fast-growing manufacturing and services sectors, which amass to 30% and 60% of the GDP, respectively. Although agriculture is less important than it once was, it employs over a third of the workforce and encompasses approximately 11% of national output. The government has introduced incentives to increase the sector's performance, including regional industrial development, a diversified high-value-added industry base, and sustainable development. The encouraging vision for trade and industry in Sri Lanka is one of a globally competitive industrial sector, driven by an exciting commercial development.
Because at the moment we have to increase our productivity. We have to improve our, the education level of the people for the technology. People are eager to learn new technologies and apply it to the industry. Automation is required for every aspect of industry. So what I feel is that even the traditional tea factories are running now automated, and even the yogurt maker who was making yogurt as a cottage industry, now they want to automate because the volume has gone up. They want to increase the productivity, they want to compete in the world market. For that you need automation.
Sri Lanka is dubbed the emerging wonder of Asia, and the Mahinda Chintana vision for the future hopes to propel the nation to the pearl of the Asian Silk Route once more. And this pearl has all the potential to shine with its myriad appeals.
GRI is a leading solid tire producer in Sri Lanka, supplying the finest of tires worldwide. High-quality service and innovation have taken GRI to the top of a customer's choice. Our premium tires perform brilliantly under severe conditions. We are built to move. Harpo's Cafes and Restaurants is managed and operated by Harpo Gunaratne, the Bay Leaf Italian restaurant in a 100-year-old colonial mansion. Enjoy fresh pasta range and a sumptuous wood-fired Harpo's pizza. Contemporary look and fusion cuisine in the stables converted to warehouse at Park Street Muse Restaurant. Curve Tapas Restaurant and Bar with high-spirited live entertainment. Colombo Fort Cafe, set in a 400-year-old heritage Dutch hospital complex. Commons Coffee House, for the best burgers and an exquisite coffee house menu in a legendary home designed by architect Jeffrey Bawa. Nakini Automation Systems. Our award-winning and patented automation systems have revolutionized Sri Lanka's maritime and manufacturing industries. We are pioneers in grid-connected solar energy technology and are dedicated to creating environmentally friendly equipment and processes. Nakini, your partner in industrial automation.
Mount Lavinia Hotel. Take a trip back in time to Sri Lanka's romantic colonial past while enjoying cutting-edge facilities, amenities, and services. With a history stretching back over 200 years, Mount Lavinia Hotel is one of the oldest hotels in Sri Lanka. Housed in a landmark beachfront colonial building that was once the residence of the governor of Ceylon, Mount Lavinia Hotel is well known for its old world charm as well as for its exceptional service and spectacularly beautiful facilities. On your next trip to Sri Lanka for business or pleasure, stay in Mount Lavinia Hotel, Sri Lanka's iconic heritage hotel, and experience the best of Sri Lanka's past and present. Rockwell Colombo, created by world travelers, this boutique hotel with 6 guest rooms features luxurious amenities, gourmet cuisine, and exceptional service. Rockwell Colombo, your home away from home in Sri Lanka. Taj Samudra Colombo, now better than ever thanks to its recent multi-million-dollar upgrade. This iconic luxury property features designer decor, state-of-the-art technologies, luxurious amenities, and a wealth of special services. Enjoy our wonderful restaurants, boutiques, landscaped garden, swimming pool, fitness center, and Colombo's finest convention facilities. Taj Samudra, modern comfort and authentic Sri Lankan style. The new 3-star La Fala Hotel and serviced apartments in the heart of Colombo. Enjoy our rooftop restaurant with spectacular views and exceptional cuisine, free Wi-Fi, air conditioning, sea views, private balconies, hardwood floors, laundry, and airport shuttle services, and special amenities for Chinese travelers. Our spacious 3-bedroom apartments have fully equipped kitchens and more. La Fala, your home away from home in Sri Lanka.
After the 30-year-old civil war, Sri Lanka has actually been on the brink of a major takeoff as far as economically the performance is concerned. This particular market has now suddenly opened up and is now reaping the dividends of peace. Major industries have started to boom, like infrastructure, banking, exports like tea, garments, and also tourism. The new government that has just been voted in has taken tourism as a very, very important responsibility and a very important part of the GDP growth of the country. And we have a separate ministry now, we have a minister, and we have a whole setup that has been put in place to focus on tourism and tourism growth, because we believe that tourism can generate a large amount of the foreign exchange required for the needs of the nation.
In the 12th century, Marco Polo described Sri Lanka as the finest island in the whole world. Today it remains a diverse landscape, known as the Nation of Smiles, with a delightful blend of culture, scenery, and exotic wildlife. Its combination of Buddhism, Hindu, Islam, and Christian culture has created a spectrum of ethos and architectural styles, while its relatively off-the-beaten-track vibe provides an element of exploration for travelers.
What is very interesting about Sri Lanka as a destination, it is a very compact island which offers absolutely everything. beach resort, fantastic historical and cultural sites. There are several UNESCO heritage sites, national parks. New national parks are actually being opened on the East Coast, which was off limit for so long. And you have also the 4 main religions present in the country. So that makes a very, even from a people point of view, a very interesting place. And all this within a very compact territory. So I think that's the uniqueness of Sri Lanka.
This stunning land has mastered trials and tribulations. Once havocked by a tsunami in 2004 and racked by the civil war ending in 2009, Sri Lanka is now back in business and wanting a place on the tourists' itineraries. Investments are fueling the sector and international holidaymakers are flocking once more.
But at the same time, Sri Lanka has become sort of synonymous for this collection of boutique hotels all along the coast and also even in the center of the country, and like my hotel Casa Colombo in the capital itself. And this is another aspect to the tourism of Sri Lanka that's picked up quite rapidly. And what's unique about it is that they're very personalized service, very stylish hotels, a lot of them, and so it's a little bit different from that mass market 5-star chain hotels.
It's not only Sri Lanka's natural beauty that attracts consideration, but man-made features too. Initiatives like the Colombo Port City project are hoping to boost international tourism and capitalize unused space in the Colombo territory. At an estimated cost of 15 billion, this joint venture between Sri Lanka and China is currently being constructed on an area reclaimed from the sea. This new city will feature a Formula One racetrack, luxury apartments, a marina and yacht club, offices and multiple entertainment facilities. Colombo itself is a bustling metropolis, famed for its port and resulting trading. But for tourists, this colonial city offers a contrast of sights and sounds. A place where visitors can immerse themselves in teeming markets and tuk-tuk-filled main streets before retreating to air-conditioned spas, lush gardens, ocean attractions and grand golf course. Tourists have an array of both international and local premium hotels to choose from, including the Hilton, Taj Samudra, Oza Hotel and Casa Colombo.
Colombo is a fast-changing place. Lots of the old buildings are being restored and nothing is being destroyed. Lots it's been done for the environment. The next project is going to be the lake in front of our hotel, where they think they want to bring it to drinking water standard, the quality of it. They're building lots of walkways for people to spend their leisure time. Many things have been done to lift Colombo many notches above from where it is, and we can see it in action. It's not just empty talk, but you can see it in action.
Sri Lanka's second largest city is Kandy, famous for the unique Temple of the Sacred Tooth relic. This golden-topped sanctuary is home to the nation's most important Buddhist artifact, Buddha's tooth, from which the renowned Esala Perahera annual festivities began. This historical procession pays homage to the sacred tooth, choreographing an extravagant display of elegant costumes, elephants, local dances, and the traditional Diya Kepima water ritual. There are 8 World Heritage Sites in Sri Lanka, including the ancient kingdom of Anuradhapura, the Dambola Rock Cave Temple, and the old fortress of Gale, a must-see city for trade and art with its classic architectural beauty and Euro-infused history. Sri Lanka asserts something for every traveller, be it thrill-seekers wanting to whitewater raft at Kitulgala or nature lovers hoping to absorb the scenery at the country's many waterfalls and jungles. The country has wildlife and national parks galore, religious festivals, hundreds of kilometres of beaches, and a special cultural essence, encompassing Sri Lanka's pure passion for tea, handicrafts, and dance.
Naturally, and we love to see foreigners, and we are open to interactions with foreigners. So anywhere you go, people are going to speak to you in English, and everyone speaks English in this country because of the long links with England. In terms of the environment, we've got very clean environment where the natural environment is still being preserved because our people are part of the environment and they live it in a natural way. So there is not much destruction as you would see in other countries which have gone through fast-paced development at the expense of the natural environment. And the most important thing, you can breathe very, very clean air, and that's important to our life, to live. You can drink very clean water, okay? If you go in the highlands, you can just drink it off a stream and it will be sprout water or mineral water, okay? So these are the little things we take for granted maybe, which are not to be taken granted today in some of the more developed destinations. But Sri Lanka is still natural, Sri Lanka is still pure, so it's something which you can experience if you go around the country.
Sri Lanka is a nation flourishing in the aftermath of adversity. It's a country open for business, beckoning tourists. The Democratic Socialist Republic is on a mission to maintain economic growth, meet its Millennium Development Goals, and live up to its promising potential. Sri Lanka, the untold wonder of Asia, just waiting to be marveled at.